Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Senate Chamber, the Vice Speaker Jesus Pimofines Memorial Building here in Capital Saipan. And this is today is Wednesday, May 20, 2026, approximately 10:24 a.m. And this meeting is the Tinian and Aguiguan Legislative Delegation, the weekly meeting with management of Commonwealth Utilities Corporation, CUC, with regards to the recovery and restoration for the 2nd Senatorial District in Tinian and other community here in the CNMI. Before I call this meeting to order, though, I wish to recognize the Legislative Bureau staff that are assisting us this morning. To my left is Antonio Villagomez, the Delegation Legal Counsel, and to her right is Devin Macaranas, who's sitting in as the Legislative Assistant for this particular special meeting of the delegation. To my far right is Mr. Jonathan Diaz, the IT. And all the way to the gallery, Miss Baby D Hokuk. She's taking photos for today's proceedings. And the floor general is the Sergeant at Arms, Benjamin Terlai, assisting the delegation this morning. So with that, at this time, I would like to call this special meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, May 2026, again at 10:26. I'm sorry. Yes, 10:26 in the morning. And this time, Devin, can you please call the roll?
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz. Here. Senator Jude U. Hofschneider.
Hey.
Senator Carl R. King Neighbors.
Here.
Representative Patrick H. Nicholas. Mr. Chairman, 3 members are present and 1 member is absent.
Okay, with 3 members present and 1 absent, we have a quorum to proceed with this special meeting. Let the record reflect the Representative Patrick San Nicolas hereby excuse. And at this time, the chair recognize any member to offer a motion to adopt today's meeting agenda.
Motion to adopt today's agenda.
It was moved by the president and seconded. Discussion. Ready? All those in favor of the motion to adopt today's meeting agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, members. Moving on to item 3 under public comment. This is the portion of the meeting that we have allowed the members of the general public to offer any comment, particularly on what is on the meeting agenda today. There being none, moving on. Item 4, special meeting. Item A, CUC recovery and restoration updates for the 2nd Senatorial District. And same as the previous meeting, we have the Executive Director, Ken Watson, here, and the Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Betty Terlai, joining us this morning. And at this time, I would recognize Mr. Watson to offer any statement of any nature with regards to our presence this morning.
Thank you, and we have some good updates for you today. The engine generator from the 249th Army Corps Battalion arrived on Monday evening, and we have our power manager and mechanics on site at Tinian, along with the Army Corps Battalion starting to put the engine into service. So the expected date will be within the next 3 weeks to have that generator powered up and providing power to Tinian. The pre-typhoon demand for Tinian was 2.5, and our plan is to have 4 megawatts available when all of this is energized. As of last Friday, we've had 14 poles installed, and the outlook is that the transmission distribution will be ready when the engines get energized. We also have on schedule for May 22nd, 4 35-foot concrete posts for delivery and 57 45-foot concrete posts to be delivered to Tinian.
Can you repeat that again, sir?
Yes, there's a total of 4 35-foot concrete posts and 57 45-foot concrete posts that are tentatively scheduled right now for May 22nd.
And that's for Tinian?
Yes, for Tinian. That's a total. And it arrived this morning in Saipan to offload some material, and then should be pulling into Tinian on the 22nd, which is, I believe, Friday.
Yeah. Mr. Watson, if I may just interject. So you disclosed that there is a generator that had arrived. And
Yes,
what's the capacity
it
of that?
arrived on, I believe, was it airport carrier?
No, but what's the capacity of that unit?
It's the 249th Army Corps Battalion.
No, what's the capacity of the engine?
Oh, it's 1.5 megawatt.
Okay, so
Oh,
One? 1
it's
megawatt.
1 megawatt.
Okay, so just to
I think it's one or up to 1.2. Yeah, because the 3 units that they're bringing in totals 2.7 capacity. So
Okay.
they're actually a lot. It's about 3
For
to
sure.
3 yeah.
yeah, but I'm
The
more
lower one.
I'm more interested in the phasing it and phasing out or phasing like re-upping the power, the electricity per se. Last week we were informed a week and a half based on the meeting, and then I'm hearing 3 weeks. Is there? He just mentioned Mr. Watson say 3 weeks we're gonna have power. I'm a little bit concerned of the
It could
timing.
be much quicker than that.
So are we comfortable? Can we sit here and you comfortably say that we can power up the critical areas first before anything else?
Yes, it could happen within days. Our crew is there now, installing it and getting it hooked up and testing all the apparatus and
Okay, so that would enable the re-energizing of the feeder 3, so to speak, or whatever terminology that we normally reference. Can you just qualify that?
Yes, my understanding is that they're trying to get it up. It's red, right?
yeah.
My understanding is that they're trying to get it up and right now, and also work on the generators that are at the old IBB area.
Okay.
And I believe they're trying to test it on Friday. So, and I believe feeder 3 is ready to connect. So as soon as they're able to get some load energy connected, then it would be feeder 3 would power up right away.
Okay. So just to clarify for the viewing public, so it's not 2 to 3 weeks, it's within days as far as re-energizing of Tinian.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, we just want to make sure that it's clear.
2 to
I mean-
3 weeks is because of the material shortage. So the power plant will power up, but it would take time to get through the rest of the distribution.
So we're saying 2 to 3 weeks to distribute to make it 100% coverage.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
But it will begin as soon as this weekend, I believe.
Okay, for phasing in of
Yeah,
the
if there
other-
is
okay.
no issues on the equipment and the repair of the equipment and the relays and all the other items that they have to install on the grid.
Okay, I'll yield for now. So, is there anything else to disclose before we? You go ahead. Yeah.
No, I believe that's they will also be working over the next several weeks on the existing engines, bringing in additional dryers and putting a temporary cover on the plant. But that's not going to hold up getting power restored to Tinian. That will be the long-term plan if we are able to salvage the existing engines. And once we know those are salvageable, will help us decide what the long-term plan is. If we had to lease power from a Greco or another source for the long-term plan.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Betty, you have any other item?
Yeah, the heat blowers that he's talking about will be in place next week. There'll be 6 heat blowers to dry up the engines. The sooner we could dry it up, the sooner we can test it and see what repairs need to be done. The testing is also dependent on the repair of the roof. So we followed up with the DOW last night at our 5 p.m. meeting, and they said it's still in progress. They've encountered issues such as structural concerns, and so therefore they're looking at other ways to resolve that issue with the power plant roofing. So it's either they'll build something temporary from the inside or they'll tarp it, whatever it is, but they're looking at the best temporary solution because they are concerned also about structure. We've put out a scope of work to get professional engineers or architectural engineers, structural engineers to basically tell us whether the structure is safe and can be rebuilt. If not, then that's a whole other request that we'll be making to FEMA to replace the structure if it's that damaged by the storm. So in the meantime, though, the engines will begin repair as soon as we get a structured cover, begin the process of repair. We also signed a contract yesterday, 2 days ago maybe, for a company to bring in 6 line crew and 2 bucket trucks from Guam. We've already coordinated with FEMA is already coordinating with the vendor on how soon they could get the bucket trucks to Tinian. The 6 line crew will deploy as soon as the bucket trucks are en route, so that they're there with their equipment. The auger truck that we mentioned, that what we also procured for Tinian's work, is already on Tinian and it has been performing. I did not get an update. I tried to get an update this morning, but they're in the middle of a meeting with the 249 that's assisting. So I didn't hear from Evelyn, but I know that they installed 17 power posts 2 days ago. So as of yesterday, I didn't get the count yet. So they probably put up an additional maybe 4 or 5 poles on the ground. So there's a little over 20 poles installed. They currently have, the last we spoke before the storm or right after the storm, they had 54 poles in stock, wooden poles. With the arrival of the 61 poles, they should be able to bring up most of Tinian, and then another batch of poles will be arriving next week, which is only smaller amounts. Another, I think, 80 poles from Guam. That's the original poles that we've been waiting for since 3 weeks ago. But they've had issues with their shipping company, and so that caused the delay in getting the poles and the materials here. So for Tinian, they are getting 61 poles of concrete poles that's on this first batch.
All right. So those are the recovery and restoration. So I'm going. Is that it for the recovery and restoration?
Yes, that's
Okay.
it.
So I'm not gonna open the question now to the members, and I recognize Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Secretary Victor na CFO no Terlai. I appreciate this follow-up meeting on the updates on Tinian restoration. Just for clarification, you mentioned in regards to the Army Corps battalion that are already on Tinian, and they have how many megawatts is that? 1.9.
1.2
So-
and another
So
that
this
came in by air freight,
so
and they have
is this
another
a-
engine on the way by barge.
okay, is this already going to power up first before the IBB, or this is the same you're talking about?
It will be the same, so that we'll have enough power to power
So-
most of Tinian.
So the IBB is a different generator that will come in, and
It's already existing.
which first is going to power up? Is it the 1.2 from the Army Corps battalion or the IBB?
Both of them.
Huh? Both?
Yes.
So a total of how many megawatts?
2.2.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned earlier that it
2
will
megawatt.
power up some areas, but not the whole.
That
Community, right?
the demand was only 2.5 or less pre-typhoon, so it should power up most of
For the whole,
Tinian.
for the whole island.
Yes,
But for
but it'll
now-
be phased in with the repair work of the transmission distribution lines.
So for now, just certain areas will be up and running.
Yes, that's correct. Feeder 3 has already been dressed up and prepped the distribution side. So they can bring up feeder 3 right away, which is where your critical facilities are at. They continue to work on the other feeders, and with the additional bucket trucks and line crew, they should get through the feeders even quicker. The engine that's coming in is about a 1.0 to a 1.2. We didn't get the exact breakdown. We've been asking for each unit. All we know is that 3 units combined has an available capacity of 2.7.
Okay.
And then that's not including the one that's at IBB. IBB is an additional 2 megawatts, 2 units. I think they run 1.2 each, and so their output is about, we can rely on 1 megawatt.
Okay,
But
so-
they will only run 1 engine there at a time because the other one is the backup.
Okay. So feeder 3 is all set. No problem. All the poles are up and transformers are ready to go.
That is my understanding, that feeder 3
Okay.
is ready to be
So how
energized.
many feeders do we have in Tinian?
You have 3 active feeders: feeder 2, feeder 3, and feeder 4. Feeder 4 is what's going to IBB. But feeder 4 is converted now to a transmission, since we will be taking the load from their engine and feeding it back into the grid now.
Okay. So you mentioned that out of how many 54 wooden poles are are in stock? Is that here in the cinema?
That is on Tinian.
The 40
The
54.
54 poles are on Tinian.
So you mentioned earlier also they have 80 poles from Guam. Are those concrete poles?
The poles from Guam are concrete poles.
So out of that poles that are coming in, 16 will go to Tinian.
61.
Oh, 61.
Yes.
61, sorry. Okay, so if those concrete poles comes to Tinian, is it on a new, you're going to put on a new location, or you're going to replace the wooden poles?
It will replace the fallen poles.
You're going to replace the wooden poles?
If they're wooden, yes, correct. I believe majority of the poles, maybe 99%, were wooden poles.
Okay,
So yes. Are you asking if we're going to replace the other wooden poles that fell down? The 50.
So this 54, are you guys going to put this up too? Or no?
They're
just-
putting it up right now. They're putting those
So
poles
which
up
one are
right
you
now.
replacing with concrete poles? Not
We're-
the one you're putting up, or
We're just trying to get the 111 poles that went down up, and then we will process a mitigation program through a mitigation
So-
grant to replace the wooden poles with concrete poles.
okay? So a total of 100 plus that are down.
Yes,
in Tinian.
correct. Yes.
Okay, so that means when you put up the wooden poles, it will be it's going to be there for a permanent unless something happen again that requires replacement, right?
No, we plan to put in a grant
Okay.
to get concrete poles to replace those wooden poles.
So
A
those are going
mitigation,
to be
part of the
replaced,
category
although
F.
we just put up those new poles. It's gonna be replaced in the coming.
Yes, correct. Coming months. And the purpose to just, even on Saipan,
I really appreciate that.
we need 300 more 400 more concrete, but we're ordering wooden for now to get the power up, and then we'll deal with the concrete replacements later.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier about executive director about Mr. Lar in regards to the engine that will begin repair. Are those engine? We're talking about the main engine
The engines that are there at the power plant right now, there's 6 units.
that
so-
are that got affected by the typhoon.
yes,
are those,
correct.
Do they have any They have problems because I know that these are running a generator. And what kind of repair are you guys talking about?
We don't know what the damages are, but they all got wet. And the control panels
Yeah,
too
that's
got
why
wet, the electrical control panels.
That's why I strongly recommend that should be assessed by the expert, because I know diesel and gasoline is very different, and I don't know how much each injector, and I was looking into checking the price, and I think some cost, it depends on what generator we have.
Yes.
What it could go up to 7,000 per injector. I think there's one injector per cylinder, right? So I strongly suggest that it has to be assessed thoroughly before taking the chance of running that, because if these generators that are coming in are only temporary, we don't want to incur in the long run a broken generator like what happened in U2 when they brought in from Guam for the Maui well. I think that was a never been used generator, but it's an old stuff, but never been used. But they blow up the engine, because I don't know how those people that came in to install that they burned the engine. So I strongly suggest that maybe with that experience we should thoroughly have the expert look into that and not take the chances of running it right away, and because of temporary generators that are here, and I know we're gonna have bigger problem in the
Bigger problems,
in the coming
yes.
days if we break the main generator. So I know that you guys are looking into that.
Yes.
That's why I keep repeating this, so that we don't. It's not by CUC, but what happened back then. You too at Maui well, but just like like a learning experience, that doing so will create more work than good to our generator. So again, I appreciate all the effort, and I continue to say that I'm hoping for expeditious, because our people keep calling us and pushing us that this needs to be done soon, because everybody is affected by this very expensive gasoline that they're using personal generator. So again, I really appreciate all this conversation, follow-up updates on what's happening on the ground and what's coming. And again, thank you for the updates. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Jesus Marcy, Senator Cruz. Mr. President, you recognize.
Good morning, Executive Director Watson and Mr. Lai. We really do appreciate your making the time to come out here on a weekly basis to keep the CNMI and people of Tinian abreast of any updates that you guys have. I don't have too many questions other than just some follow-up questions on the initial. So the engines on the ground currently from the 249th, that's one generator arrived, and then, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and then, but we're expecting 3 total,
Yes, that's correct.
and then the estimated arrival time for the second and third generators are,
It's on boat, so I believe they said it might be another week.
okay.
Yeah.
And then there was a discussion on poles and transformers and all of the materials right, not the main distribution, but the laterals and that part. How is the island again? If to beat it, you don't need to beat the drum again, just so the community is clear. In the way of those materials, do we have a sufficient amount of those materials as you guys simultaneously build up the power coming from IBB, and then also are putting up the engine? So first, 249th are going to be completely dedicated to the equipment they're bringing.
To the power gen, yes.
Okay, and then there's going to be another group who's going to be responsible for the IBB generator pushing back down to the main source, correct?
That is CUC.
That is CUC?
Yes.
Okay, and that can come up within a matter of how much time? The IBB engine's coming back.
The feeder 4 has been prepped up already.
Okay,
I think there's, I guess, the technical side of things is they have to be able to tie it into the transformer, a 13.8, something like that, to be able to distribute it out to the feeders.
okay,
So that was worked on, has been working on for the week. But we have our power gen manager and our electrical engineer there, who's guiding everyone that needs to do the work. The IBB, my understanding is the green light on that is dependent on the agreement between and I don't want to say too much because it's on the military side, but I think
Okay.
it's between the Navy and FEMA
Okay.
now to get the engines on a contract.
okay,
So
so
that
it's,
we
it's
could-
still pending, it's not 100%
Yeah,
cleared?
what I know is it's in the works.
Okay.
But it's whatever logistics and documentation they need to be able to power up and feed back into the grid.
So, would it be a safe assumption to say that once the paperwork are done, right, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, then the turnaround time for IBB to be producing power back to feeder 4 would be how long?
Yeah, I think it's,
Immediate?
in my understanding, the system is ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like within
But
a
I
couple
think
of
they're
days.
also trying to look at the logistics of the fuel, of how they want to provide the fuel to the IBB generators. Because I believe that the Navy or the DOW might have their own contracts, whether they're gonna bill it to us, all this that
Okay.
was kind of the discussion.
So the details are
generally-
still being
Yes,
worked on.
so they said they'll get back to us to discuss those details at a later time when they start ironing out things on their side.
Okay. And then do you guys have, without disclosing too much information, do you guys have an estimate on when the finalization of those details would be made?
We're on wait mode now. We're
Okay.
ready to go. So they know that we're waiting. They know
Mhm.
it's on their site now. And they're trying to rush it too, is what they're saying. So I can't say if it'll be in a few days or in a week. Might be surprised that it's done and they're just waiting for us to come to us today, but I don't have a timeline.
Okay. And then,
But we do meet with them. Well, now they're calling us daily, except sometimes we already have DOE that comes to us daily and FEMA rep that takes it back to their main meetings. But last night we attended the federal partners meeting, and it was mainly about, a lot of it was mostly Tinian. So just to allude back to what Senator Cruz is emphasizing on, making sure that the engines are also taken care of and repaired. The director mentioned earlier that they're also looking at the whole picture, that if the engines can't be repaired, what is the next step? Because they cannot leave their units there long-term because they're not meant to run that 24 hours that long. So they're looking at the other proposals that did come in, that was to provide temporary power. And so they're weighing the options because they mentioned there's a fee to CUC as well if that's the case from the units that they have as well. So we're saying let's put it all out, let us know what it is, and we'll work out what needs to be done. And so that is in discussion, and we were glad to be there last night because we got confirmation that they're looking out for the long term too. for Tinian specifically. If the engines cannot come up, if the structure is not going to be able to uphold these engines too, then what can they do? How can they help us to until something more permanent is in place? The timeline is just, some say it can be as soon as Friday or the weekend, or it can take up to 2 weeks depending on the issues they're encountering. I tried to call Richard, but they were in a heavy meeting, and he said, I can't talk long because he needs to pay attention and ask the questions too. So um, we can update you as we get the information if you'd like, via maybe an email or something like that.
I think that would work.
Okay.
Great. Just so that we could also disseminate that information out to our public. I've noticed that a lot of these meetings have set expectations to some degree for the public, and through no one's fault, there's questions as to why there are different outcomes at the end of these meetings. And one thing it's important for us to communicate to our constituents is that, as you just brought up, a lot of these discussions are still very much so discussions and talks, and the fine print and the signatures need to be all finalized before you can go out there and give a hard date as to when the community can expect these energy, water, whatever it may be,
Yes.
to come back online.
Right.
So, to clarify just some of the discussion with the poles, there are going to be wooden poles that are going to be brought to Tinian. The thought process behind that is to do whatever you can and FEMA to bring power generation back to the whole island. That's why wooden poles are coming, because we just want to put up the power as quickly as possible.
We're only sending concrete to Tinian.
So there's no wooden poles coming to Tinian?
The wooden, excuse me, the wooden poles are already on Tinian.
Mhm.
That was stock,
Okay.
yeah.
And then
So-
those, once you procure another grant, then you would change those out to concrete
Right, we
poles.
plan to apply under the mitigation grant, which follows the typhoon category F,
Mhm.
is to get concrete poles and to cover the remaining 50 that we owe Tinian. Plus, if we could get Tinian on additional, we could get their wooden poles replaced.
Mhm.
We'd love to do that too.
So it seems like a lot of these long-term goals are kind of on this wait list on Cat F.
That's correct. And Cat F has not been approved.
Yeah.
There is a representative from the White House here today. I think he meets with the GAR, and then we meet with him tomorrow. And it's basically, we're going to bring up everything
Yeah.
that, this is what we need. Every storm gets worse, and every storm we repeat this process, like, just give us what we need to be more resilient already.
Mhm.
Even stock, if they could fund stock for us, then we won't have to go through this process of shipping every single time what we can get. And we're at the mercy of vendors, companies that manufacture these things, and they have lead time. So we wanted to order all 1,001 concrete poles for the replacement, but the manufacturer can only make so many in a short period. And so that's why we said, okay, if our goal is to get everybody up within the first 90 days, although we want to do it actually we were trying to get it done by early June, but these manufacturers aren't able to deliver the poles that we need by then. So that is part of the delay. It's beyond our control. But if we get, funding for inventory for typhoon, then that would always prepare us for the next typhoon, right? Because we're in an area that's continuously will be hit by typhoons. So it'll save FEMA money as well if they get us all these concrete poles, because then the labor and all that's one of the biggest costs, is to get all these poles back up. So we're gonna push harder this time, because when you don't have the money, we feel like the weight's on our shoulders, and we don't have the cash, reserve account for typhoon. And it's hard to do that, because if we were gonna do that, then where would it come from? It would come again from the people, right?
So, okay, now, just a little back, all of the other materials that would be needed for distribution for the island of Tinian are secure. We're good on that.
There's a shortage of transformers on Tinian.
Okay. By how much?
Yes, it's the standard ones, the 1525 kV, the residential home types. But there is a shortage, and so our first shipment, we would have to split some of it to Tinian. So our first shipment is expected around it will ship out on the 27, 28. Again, it's how soon can that shipment get here? So estimated like a week, early June.
So you said we have a shortage. Can you specify that?
Tinian actually has some transformers that we're trying to pull to Saipan because they don't need the sizes that they have in
Understood.
stock. But the sizes that they need, they don't have, and so that is what we need to give them when the first shipment arrives.
Okay. So you're taking the transformers that are kind of overkill to some degree, right? They're above what is needed
Yes.
for the distribution rates on
Yes.
island, and you're moving them to Saipan to better use what equipment you have at your
Right,
disposal.
we have some large facilities here that could use
Could
the
use
large
those.
ones. They're mainly large. You never want to use a large, you'll be build more kilowatt hours than you need if
Yeah.
you.
I'll leave
yeah.
that to you guys as the SMEs, right?
But there is some shortage. I don't have that exact number of how much Tinian fell short already.
okay.
I could get that and include that in the email.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so we spoke briefly about feeder 3 and how that was one of the feeders that provides to some of our most critical facilities. For the public's and the viewing public's information, could you go down the list on some of the critical facilities that are tied into feeder 3 on Tinian?
I don't have that right now, but I believe it is the same feeder where the underground cable was to be installed at.
Okay, so
I
we're
believe
talking
it goes
about the
The
fuel
school where the
point.
shelter's at.
Would it go to the fuel distribution? And then it'll go up towards the elementary school, which is the shelter.
Yes.
It'll go down to the hospital.
Yes.
DFEMS,
DFEMS, yes.
DPS,
DPS.
courthouse.
And the courthouse, yeah.
Will include the mayor's office
Yeah,
where the
I
MOC
believe it
is?
includes the mayor's office,
Okay.
yes.
And will it make its way all the way down to the end of that run, or will it stop somewhere before the Broadway?
No, I think the
Goes all the
laterals are
way.
also repaired on that,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I should have brought the map. We showed it to the federal partners last night of Tinian and which parts were ready to be energized.
Yeah.
So I'll take a snip and send it on the email,
Sure.
the map as well.
And then
yeah.
that's something that we can have posted for
Okay.
the mayor's Facebook page, so we can further educate our people as to what can be expected. Now, after
In our
feeder,
maps, we also include where the progress is developing.
Mm-hmm.
So if we update you daily on the maps, and they can see where the
Yeah.
guys are,
how the
what their
progress is,
focus
yeah.
yes.
because it does feel as if the progress is not happening, but we know that it is. It's just right. This is merely prelude to when the equipment
Yes.
comes in, and everybody goes on
And
board.
then if they not skip, but if a residence doesn't come on and may appear like it's skipped,
Mhm.
it's because of the shortage of whatever that requirement is.
Yeah,
but
for
most
for that-
likely a
for
transformer.
that
yes.
distribution point, right?
Yes.
Correct. Okay, and then so you said how many of the first load shipment of the accurately sized transformers do we expect of the first load?
On the first load, it's a little over 100 plus transformers.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did get some from GPA, not
Mhm.
too many, 30 on the first batch. I think another 15 on the second.
Mhm.
So the order though that we placed was for 583 transformers. And I believe 60 or less is for Tinian.
Mhm.
I think it's a lot less than 60, but I'll have to verify that number.
Do you have the number of transformers that you're moving from Tinian, the larger transformers that you're shipping to Saipan?
No, I asked Evelyn to do a final inventory as
Okay.
of yesterday, and I have not received it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a deliverable you're waiting for as
Yes,
well. Okay,
correct.
okay. I think that's all the questions I have for now. I'll yield my time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Senator Cruz, would you like to recognize? Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman. And again, in regards to the, just for clarification, in regards to you mentioned about powering up feeder 3. When is that going to power up on feeder 3? I'm sorry if you mentioned it already, but I wanna just
No,
verify.
we're anticipating that they might get the generator unit set up by this weekend.
Okay.
Right now, they're tying in the system as well as the fuel pipeline, so that it can
So
fuel
how
the
long? How
generator.
long? No,
I was told it can come up as soon as
approximate, no.
Friday night or the weekend, but that's an estimated time, depending if there's no issues. So this morning they are meeting on it. I have not
But it's not
received.
gonna take weeks, no?
No, it shouldn't take weeks.
Maybe 2 days, 3 days, something like that.
We're hoping this weekend it'll energize up.
for feeder 3?
Yes.
Okay. And I heard that you mentioned about you guys order 100 plus transformers, right? You mentioned, or do we have it here?
583 transformers. Yes.
They're here already, the 100 plus.
No,
or
none
you
of them
order-
has arrived.
So out of that, 16 or less for Tinian.
Yes.
How many transformers that are down for Tinian?
On Tinian? Do you have that exact number?
No.
Yeah.
Huh?
I will send that on an email.
Okay,
of how many
okay, all right.
It's less than 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. You back, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Thank you, Betty and Director. There's no particular pointed question basically coming from this side and my end, other than to probably reiterate some of the timelines. And the biggest question really is, when is it coming back? And when are we going to try to power up some? And for the viewing public that are listening, it appears that they're doing a test run in the next couple of days to hopefully power up some portions on Tinian in phases. Of course, making sure that the distribution and our people, our linemen and crew, and especially the community, are safe, and there's no, everything checks out. So we need to point that out, that it's also the safety of the crew onward to the public. And that is very critical in the midst of this recovery. So we want to flag that it's very, very critical that our community understands that. I never asked this. I forgot to ask this last week, but I sometimes hear it coming. So do we inform our people to turn off their main circuit breaker?
We always put out an advisory, yes, just before they're scheduled to be energized on that same day, and we try to put an estimated time.
Okay, so can we tell them, can we comfortably say on record right now that even if there's no power, just turn it off?
Well, people would need their generator units, and so we don't want them to go without power for
Some
the
are
next-
yeah, okay, I see.
Right.
So for those that are not plugged into the generator,
Yes.
it's advised to power it off.
Right, and usually, so if we know that it's gonna be tested today or even energized, we'll get that notice out hours before that. So it's a matter of Facebook, WhatsApp, but Evelyn will know the best way to get
Sure.
it out on Tinian.
Okay. I don't want to jump into another segment, but I do want to ask, maybe because of your experience dealing with the reimbursements of CUC, what is the typical timeline for emergency response? I'm talking about the finances part, you all, as well as the CNMI government, resort to using our quote-unquote general fund to respond to this, and then it's category B, I believe, What's the turnaround time typically in terms of our federal partners giving it back to you?
Thank you for that question, Senator. we don't. We are trying to get what's called an advance reimbursement from FEMA. We've already submitted the projects
Mm-hmm.
to FEMA to get an advance reimbursement. It's all estimated numbers of, which includes a lot of actual, but estimated on labor costs.
Mm-hmm.
But we've submitted for 75 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're still waiting for that approval. Honestly speaking, we're still waiting for you too. We're still some of Sodalor too. So that's a big concern for us. We met with the governor yesterday to lay out our finances as our priorities to get power up. We're also faced now with the high cost of fuel.
Sure.
And so we get power up, then we can't buy fuel. It's a problem. So we're looking at other ways to deal with it. We will need the support of the legislature, House and Senate, to perhaps allow us to take out a loan. We've already talked to some institutions that are willing to help us with that to augment until we can recover from the collections of our receivables and our billings to be able to continue to purchase fuel, since we are pushing with FEMA to get a lot of these things covered up front. Unfortunately, in the past typhoons, it's the government who has purchased most of the materials and the hardware, the poles that came in for Typhoon U2. It was the government that did that. Today, the government can't help us in that regard. So we're taking what we have now, which is really to help us with fuel and payroll and our vendors, and that's what we're using to purchase what we need immediately for the storm.
Okay.
Anything else, other than that, we're negotiating with our vendors to push back on the time, on their terms of payment, so that we could recover a little bit.
Okay, thank you for that, Eddie. So just for to understand it clearly, that during previous emergency was the administration or executive branch that front-loaded a lot of the necessary funding to respond to the emergency.
Yes,
correct?
That is correct.
But that is not the case today.
Correct.
So which brings me to asking this question, what is the turnaround time? Because I think the general public need to understand the dynamics on what we need to go through. So I would like to think now in general terms that you are now a almost like the executive branch, where you respond to an emergency and then you submit your reimbursement, and you work through the process. So it's the same context to that of CUC as we speak, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So there's no right now, so it's hard to say publicly what's the turnaround time as far as numbers of days, no?
I am hoping it's going to be better than you two.
Okay. Well, it's I didn't mean to chuckle like that, but I just I can sense the urgency, and at the same time, as we sit here and have this update meeting, your crew is going out and incurring costs to restore power.
Yes.
And that translates to you booking into your finances that is challenged, and hoping that you would get the needed response from your partners, our partners with the federal government, so that you can continue providing that. So it's all a matter of understanding the dynamics of that. And this would not be the last time that we'll be asking this question, Betty and Director. I know that it is important that our people understand the magnitude of and the dynamics of what we're all going through. And in this case, CUC is going through as far as trying to keep it afloat. The last thing we need to do is frustrate the progression of the recovery and restoration. So unless any other members have any questions, I would like to... You have any press? And we'll take a quick 5-minute recess. Thank you. Okay, we're back into our special meeting, and this time I recognize the Senator, or I'm sorry, Senate President Carl King Neighbors.
Thank you, Chairman Hofschneider. And I want to kind of pivot our discussion a little bit into what has become a very hot topic, which is the fuel adjustment charge. So could you please walk us through when did you begin the request for the fuel adjustment charge? I know there's an executive order that the governor had put out. One of our senators are contesting that this would fall under that umbrella, and I just wanted to kind of understand how you guys felt about it, and some of the methodologies that go into this FAC rate adjustment.
Yeah, excuse me. We actually petitioned CPUC on March 31st when we were notified of the MOP increase from 24 cents to 44. However, CPUC did not have a quorum or did not call a meeting because they didn't have a quorum to vote on our petition.
May I add to that? So, we requested for this rate FAC increase way before the storm hit, and it was just because there was no quorum with CPUC that it was delayed, and when they finally passed it, it was after it was around May 15, correct?
May 15th.
May 15, when in fact the new price should have been already with Mobil's pricing at 60 cents per kilowatt hour, 60.4. I don't believe that it applies to this because the gouging, the price freeze to prevent price gouging, for me, price gouging is when you increase your price of your commodity to profit, and it's taking advantage of a disaster and the demand of the people on specific goods that the people start buying. Like right after the storm, people were lining up for diesel. There was the ice, the water, butane, candles, lanterns, whatever it is that they needed, and possibly even food, because it does become like canned food versus frozen, right, when there's no power. But CUC's methodology on the FAC has never changed. So there's no increase to make a profit on on the cost that we need to recover to purchase fuel. So the methodology was approved in 2012, I want to say, and then reapproved in 2016 by changing some of the elements that are in the FAC. But the FAC methodology and all the add-ins that we have on our contract remains the same. The only thing that changes is the MOPS price, which determines the price of fuel per gallon that Mobil factors into their rates, and then the rates stay the same, and the bottom line is what we pay. So that methodology has not changed. There's no additional add-ons by Mobil that, and there's no additional add-ons from CUC that the price freeze would prevent us from putting on the FAC for the charge. So it's the same methodology, the same. The only thing that changes is the MOPS, and that's in the methodology. So I don't believe that that there's any price gouging or that the freeze would apply, because we have not done anything different.
So you did mention, Director Watson, that CUC had submitted to CPUC the adjustment of the FAC rate back in 31st of March.
That's correct.
And then, just for the record, according to council, when was the executive order for the price freeze provided?
I believe the price freeze executive order was signed on April 11, 2026.
Okay. So So you take the dates, and then you take also the fact that the methodology to get to the FAC adjustment is, again, a methodology that you guys don't handle. If so that just the dates alone show the lack of like malicious intent. You already knew what the price was going to be for April, and you made the requisite request so as to ensure that you guys aren't going to keep on paying out of your own pockets for the difference in the price. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So with the fact, I know when we spoke, not as a delegation, but we spoke as a Senate, we were taught, you had explained to us that you guys had, I believe it was 12 or 14 million dollars, right? But that money was not free. It was encumbered. It was
Already appropriated to
appropriated.
our obligations, which includes the fuel that was delivered in our tanks, and purchase orders, our contract obligations. We have some fixed payments that we make every month, and our payroll as well.
So for everyone's understanding, every time that CUC has to pay for a rate that hasn't been properly adjusted for, CUC will in turn eat that cost.
Yes, we use our non-fuel revenues to subsidize the fuel until we can get a fuel reconciliation done. And then that's when CPUC would review how much fuel costs we've expensed, how much have we consumed, versus how much we collected in fuel. If we over collect, then CPUC will order us to return back per kilowatt hour some cents. It'll be factored back into the next rate. And if we under collect it, which may be the case as we speak, it would be factored back into the rate again. And there'll be another fixed adjustment in the next fuel charge base for us to collect what we didn't recover.
So it's a running balance.
Yes.
Okay. So in the event that we go down this hole, and I believe CUC is not acting with good intent, and I believe that you adjusted the FAC rate to do exactly that, to profit off of a disaster. That information would show up on your books. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, we couldn't do that. We couldn't pass a rate that was not following the methodology. If we did, then something's wrong. We'd be doing something really wrong. But it would show in our books, absolutely, because we'd have to record that as a fuel cost. And then the way we calculate it is available. It's reviewed by CPUC. We show them our MOPS price on our spreadsheet and what the breakdown is before they approve it.
Now, when we're talking about, some people might hear 12 million, 14 million. That's a lot of money. You guys can do this for us, right? You can hang on, but at the current situation, when all the power is turned back on, and CUC is back in control of from engine to home, from engine to feeder to government entity, from feeder to the hospital. If the FAC isn't adjusted properly, how long, just rough estimate, how long could CUC survive providing power at a rate that they can't pay for?
We are already concerned that we're short of funds by mid-June.
So not even
Just
the fiscal year.
because of the restoration. That is not even factoring fuel
Fact.
yet. Yes.
That's just the restoration.
Yes, correct.
That's paying employees. That's all of the
Right.
all of the the fronted monies, right?
Yes.
The funding, because of the way FEMA processes their.
Yes, that's
Right.
correct.
So right now you're eating into the money that you've already appropriated and booked for other vendors. So vendors aren't getting paid, to be clear. Vendors are
We're
not.
holding back on
They're
the
holding
large
back
ones,
on.
yes.
And
I
what kind
mean-
of what kind of things are you holding back on? If you could help us understand.
We are working with our vendors to get better terms. So like with mobile, we have 75 days now. So that's going to help us with mobile payments. But we already have some that are due that we have not paid before the storm. That's about 4 million. And we have heavy equipment rentals, a lot of that with the storm. But vendors that are in our system now, we have settlement due to retirement fund. We have small vendors for chlorine, for example, that we have to put in our water, that we have to pay those. We've ordered meters; those are being manufactured. They want a payment up front. We're trying to negotiate that and see if we could pay that when they ship, things like that. So we have a Greco that we got to pay. That's about 300 plus 300,000 a month. That was for the last bill, and then they're up and running again. So we do have an amount we need to pay. The fuel for our vehicles, the lease for our vehicles. We're buying meals for the employees so they could work straight time and not have to take an hour off, so that we could get the restoration quicker. We have lots of materials and supplies that are available on island for repairs of leaks, and some are just tools that we need that we didn't need before, and now we need to purchase these things. We're renting generators for the water wells because even our power, we can't get up to certain areas. So FEMA has provided us some generators, but not all of them are on FEMA generators. Some of them we're renting. We're renting trucks to haul fuel from one generator to the next so that we could continuously provide water. And we purchased a lot of fuel because we couldn't pump from our tanks to these small trucks. So we had to get fuel from a different supplier, which was double the price, just to be able to get the water pumps going. We've had to replace water pumps. So there's just a long list. There's lodging expenses that we got to pay for all these line crew that came in from GPA. Vehicles that we rented for the line crews to use. The transportation costs for airfare for all of them to come in. I could keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
There's a
so-
lot of moving parts for this restoration.
Knowing, so you had a starting balance of about 12 to 14 million dollars. Do you have an estimate of how far you guys have drawn down?
We've already exceeded that, just based on the restoration.
So you've overdrawn.
We've overdrawn it went up to about 14 million. We got a reimbursement from EPA, so we were at almost 15 million. We've already spent more than that. But because of payment terms that we're working out, by next month we'll still be able to have some funds because we're dragging it out. But as we speak, there's probably another batch of POs on my table that I need to look at and see what is critical for the restoration. We have taken a good amount of employees off restoration pay to save money. That's a big reduction that our director made the call for last week. And we already have employees that feel demoralized because we've taken them off, but yet we're working them 12 hours a day.
Yeah. So in the event that CUC runs out of money, what does tomorrow look like? Today, you guys have exhausted every resource, tried to get every
We've gotten a
reimbursement.
small loan from EPA, or not EPA, but from funds that are managed with CUC and EPA's approval. We got a small $8 million loan to hold us up until we were hoping to come back and get the legislature to allow us to borrow from other institutions. So we're hoping that could materialize soon. I believe that the bill has been submitted to the House, and so we just need to push on that and see that'll materialize.
Okay.
That would help with the restoration, and it would help with the fuel purchases. And what we want to do is not get an outright loan. We want a line of credit, as we don't want to take out what we don't
Tranche.
need right away, because the cost of the debt service would be something we'd have to incur as
Untenable.
well. So what we want is a line of credit and just draw it as we need it. And as soon as we get reimbursements or the advance reimbursement, we put it right back against the loan. So those are the things we're considering right now.
So if it's okay?
If we don't buy fuel,
Okay.
we can't run the power plant. As
Understood.
simple as that.
Simple as
And
that.
if we can't run power, then we won't get water either.
And am I correct in the belief that the hospital here on Saipan does have generators, correct?
Yes, they do, and I believe that they have, one unit is from FEMA.
From FEMA.
Yes.
But the technical support that they need comes from CUC when it comes from repairing and other.
They have reached out to us for help, yes.
Okay.
We work with, the hospital. We'd hate to see them go down for that reason.
Okay. So last week we had a meeting with Secretary of Finance, and it was regarding the budget primarily. We touched bases briefly regarding CUC directly. I had posed the question to them, knowing that the rates are going up. It was just a matter of time before it was approved, and we don't know what, like you said, May is already at 60, and this is not something that you control, I control, any one of us in the CNMI can control. This is for all intents and purposes, a global kind of issue,
It's a
right, that
global
we're going
crisis,
through.
yes.
So now, when I pose a question to the Secretary of Finance, because I know we had issues paying the government's debts to CUC previously, and when I asked her what are their options on the table, because if the price goes up, price goes up for everybody.
Right.
And she spoke about a reduction in obviously usage, prepaid meters, and I wanted to know, being that the price is going to go up significantly for the kilowatt hour, and reduction is something that everybody's going to do, whether it's a government agency or an individual household. How will that reduction in income, right, and profits to CUC affect your operability? And have you guys made that? Like, if we reduce by X amount of megawatts, we can expect this. How have you guys approached that situation?
So we are looking at the reduction of cells. Our revenue would reduce. At this time, we're taking a loss for every kilowatt hour produced. We're taking a loss of about 16 cents per kilowatt hour. So as we energize people, we're taking a loss, but we still have some fixed responsibilities to pay, and the employees primarily. So we got to keep that going. If we generate less than what we can recover on the non-fuel side, then we'd have to look at our operations and see what we could do to reduce our expenses there. We've been on this boat for the longest time. We've been under recovered, and so when people say, well, why haven't we done this and why haven't we done that? It's like, well, our rates don't allow us to do it, Could we have better engines by now? Absolutely, if everything was paid once upon a time. But, I don't want to keep looking back at that. Going forward, I think we've made some big strides. We have a solar project that's just about ready to contract with. We just have a contract review going on right now. Once that's done, we've already issued a notice to proceed to one of the vendors that bid it, that seems to be the most responsive to the needs that CUC put out. And if that materializes, then we should have a solar farm by the end of 2027. Is that correct?
Yeah, I spoke with them earlier this week, and they assured me they could have it up and going in 12 to 18 months. And the review by our attorney is, she indicated that she'll be able to complete it within 2 weeks or less. And then it goes to CPUC for review and approval. And they have to approve it or not within 45 days. And we're hoping that they will expedite it so that we can complete the project by December of 2027, because that is a requirement to take advantage of the tax credit. If it's not, the entire project is not completed by December 2027, we will lose out on the tax credits. And all 3 islands will be GEN simultaneously. It won't be one island then another. They have the resources to mobilize to each island at the same time.
Thank you. And thank you for, Betty, did you have anything to add?
No, I mean, we're doing what we can, and we're being very mindful about our expenses right now with regards to even things like POs that were already prepped before the storm are on hold.
Yeah.
And we're reducing the quantities down because our priority is recovering from this storm so we could get everybody back up with services. And so one way or another, we end up, someone's got to give. I mean, whether it's the government who's going to have to come up and help out, it's for the people. But we're doing our best. We know they don't have the funds, but we have been meeting with the governor, and there's some ideas of where else to get funds. That's on my list of things to do today. We're looking at other projects, grant projects, and seeing if we could get fundings, reappropriated to this disaster, but until we could replenish it back, So again, there's funding that we could tap in. We just need authority to do it. And I think that's where, the legislature would play a critical role in assisting us get that authority so we could get over this disaster and then move on from there and see what else we could do to keep building CUC and making it more efficient as well.
And just my last question, is the government up to date on all of our billings? Are we?
They are on prepay on the electric side. Majority of them are. There's probably 8 accounts that aren't, 8 to 10 accounts, and there's reasons for it, like they need work on their electrical side or something like that. But for the most part, they are. The water and the wastewater is where there's a buildup of receivables.
And could you provide context as to why that is accumulating?
Yes, they have some ARPA money that's supposed to pay for this, but I think they're waiting for
Whom?
Finance is
Okay.
waiting for a reconciliation that they're asking us to do on the stimulus payments that were part of ARPA. That is almost done. It should have been done, but the storm hit, so and we'll just have to transmit that to them, and then I believe that's what they're waiting for.
Okay. Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time. Thank you, Chair.
On the solar contract, I'd like to make one clarification. We didn't issue a notice to proceed. That comes after the ratification of the contract. We did issue a notice of intent to award.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, that was my mistake. And then on the 8 million that we're able to tap into, these are funds from a settlement award that CUC got for the PFAS. The Judge Carter has approved for us to borrow 8 million, but that does not allow us to pay for fuel, for power. It allows us to pay for the fuel that the generators for the water and wastewater systems are using. So it limits what we can pay, but it is nonetheless going to relieve some of the funds that we would be collecting. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Perez. Thank you, Kevin and Betty. Senator, do you have any other question before I? Good,
I'd
Senator.
just like to point out on the on the fuel, since that was brought up.
Please.
That we have gotten a lot of comments from people too, that they don't care what the kilowatt hour rate is, they want their power on, and because they're spending way more on their generator, and their generator is only giving them power in the evenings, unlike if they were on CUC, they'd be able to stretch it out more throughout the day. So people who understand how it works, I guess, with fuel, they'd rather pay less. They'd rather pay CUC than pay more for just a few hours in the evening of generator use, right? And so even the businesses have said we'd rather have power from CUC than running our generators, even if the rates go up. Because if the rates go up for CUC, it goes up also from their suppliers. So they pay more than we do. And we don't like it. We pay the same rates. The employees pay the same rates. They were not happy that it had to go through, but they know that if it doesn't happen, then they'll lose their jobs too, right? So everybody pays the same rate. But
Okay.
we ask the people to be patient. We're hoping this war would soon go away, because that's the reason for this, for our situation. But hopefully it'll go down soon, for everybody.
Thank you, Betty. Mr. Press, just to Senator Press, yeah.
Thank you. I want to touch back. Could you provide us on some updates regarding the third senatorial district? Provide us with any new arrivals of materials. I know you guys were working your way out from the hospital, Navy Hill area. Just general updates on how that progress is moving forward. You did speak briefly last meeting that the agreement with GPA was only for the areas that they agreed upon. So meaning to say that they can't go work in an area that used to be worked on by Saipan CUC. They have to continue work on their own. So can you just kind of tell us what kind of progress has been made since our last discussion? Anything of note that the people of Saipan should know, timelines, some of the same questions
Okay.
that we asked for Tinian.
Sure. Go ahead. GPA has, I guess we didn't update the last time we were here. We talked mostly about Tinian, but GPA has agreed to move into the other areas. So they've gotten Kiza 1 and Kiza 2 going. So the primary lines, which is the main road areas, they're about 95% complete. The areas that are down is because we don't have the pole or the right transformer anymore, but those are 95% on the primary. With the laterals, if there's no issues on the laterals, they're energizing them. So they're slowing down now because most of the work on those laterals require transformers or power poles. And that's what's slowing down the process. We're also running low on conductors. Conductors are the copper wire lines that run across the poles. So they're salvaging as much as they can right now and moving from lateral to lateral. And they've gotten a good amount of laterals on. But as we really run low on the materials and the hardwares, it's hard to get into any area to move to a new area, yes. So from Cagman Mobile Gas Station down to Cagman, there's about 4 or 5 poles that they need just to get down to our water wells, which was one of our priorities as a critical facility. But because we don't have the poles for that area, those Cagman wells are still, in fact, just got 4 generators installed yesterday by FEMA. So I'm by U.S. Army Corps. And so there's nothing energized yet in Cagman except for the water wells being run on generators. That's due to the lack of materials. They have the most power poles down and transformers. So the timeline for the poles, again, is we are receiving some from GPA. I'm pretty sure the primary would be the first to get the poles. If we could get it down to the water wells in Cagman, then I believe that's also the next goal, because it's a critical facility. But for the village area, the majority of the poles that we need are 45 foot poles. Those will be coming in. They're shipping out. They're on its way to California. From Massachusetts to California, then it's going to get on a barge and head over here. So we're looking at the end of the month to early June. Yeah, maybe early June is my understanding. 2 weeks.
Then how long, once they arrive, so will GPA be here for the duration of the recovery, or are they here on a limited basis?
The agreement is for 30 days, so around the first week of June, 30 days would be up. But we could always ask for that extension, and the general manager of GPA has also mentioned that if we need an extension, we'd work something out. So if some of the crew needs to return back and a new set come, that might be the case. But we have not gone into the details of that, since at this point we still have about 2 weeks out.
So you did mention that Cagman water well was one of the critical.
There's
right?
several
Yeah.
several
So
water wells there.
and then could you walk us through some of the other areas that are ready to go, but for the poles and the transformers and conductors? Like, I know we have like Capitol Hill, we have power. How far does that reach out?
In
From
Capitol
Capitol
Hill, there are some laterals that are connected. They've slowed down because of lack of poles. So, and transformers. Those are the two main
So those seem
reasons.
to be a limiting factor. right now.
Yes. And we have a map here that you're welcome to take a look at. The blue areas is where the crews are at. They're working on these areas right now. And the yellow areas, which there's very little right now, is ready to be energized. So the blues will probably build up, because again, it's just work in progress, because we're waiting for materials. If they can salvage any transformer, which they're doing that right now, they're repairing some. It's a little slower process, but as they get repaired, we're energizing areas that would need that transformer. So it's not at a standstill yet, but it is significantly slowed down. Yes. So salvaging is like, for example, when they go into Cagman, they might be there, but they're not going to energize. They're just kind of cleaning it up, so that
Prepping
when
it.
drilling holes already for where the poles need to go. So when the poles come in, it's a lot quicker to get them up and energized.
And could you, what area of Saipan would you say has the longest wait time? That you whether it be just geography, materials, like they have way too many poles down, they're missing transformers. What
The
seems to be the
area that
biggest?
was hit the most is Cagman.
Cagman.
Yes.
Okay.
Cagman and up north.
Okay.
So up north, just the primary has been energized.
And this is Tanapak, this past.
Yeah, there's a
Past leaf
few blue areas, which means there's work in progress there. But most of the laterals that are down are really spread out all over the island. There's not one. I mean, Cagman has no energy because of the road the primary going down. But all the villages have a good amount of laterals that are not energized yet.
So they're dispersed kind of uniformly across the island.
Yes. Kiza 1 and Kiza 2 was a priority with the GPA when we diverted them out, primarily because they have large loads. And running the power plant without enough load is
Is
a problem for
problematic,
the engines. So in consultation with GPA 2, after reviewing all the documents of our grid load and the power plant machines, the engineers said that we need to go to Kiza 1 and Kiza 2 to bring up more load to protect the engines as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Senate Press. Senator Cruz, recognized.
Thank you, and CFO. Back to the, I think there is 2.2 generator that's going to power up this weekend, right? 2.2?
It's a combination of the one that's there, which
Yes.
is about 1 megawatt, and then the other one that's coming from IBB, which
Yes,
is
okay.
another 1 megawatt.
So who's going to operate that temporary generator, and who's going to shoulder the expense of the fuel? Is it CUC or FEMA?
With the fuel, the logistics have not been clear, but with the operation of the generators, it would be the 249th group, I believe.
So not CUC, right?
No, not CUC.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand, and just to make sure that that continues to operate efficiently to our people. It's not going to be like lack of fuel in the middle of the month. They will be the one to cost or everything, right? Operation and fuel, right?
Yes, I'm
So,
not sure on the fuel, but I'm wanting to say yes. I think
okay, so if they're going to shoulder the fuel, is our people still gonna incur the same?
We did discuss that, and because we only have one rate for all 3 islands,
Okay.
we'd be passing the same cost on. Whatever savings that if they provide the fuel, that savings would go into our methodology, so that it would reduce the rate if it could, because we're under recovering right now by 16 cents a kilowatt hour. But if it could reduce on the reconciliation, then it would apply to everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
Are
Thank
you
you.
back, Chairman?
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Mr. Watson, thank you. Just some clarification question with regards to the re-energizing of critical portions in Saipan. What's the timeline with regards to the main feeders going to the airport? Primarily Asterlai Hill, all the way south towards the airport.
Those are all energized, Senator?
They're all energized?
Yes, correct. The airport is energized.
So what about
They've been energized for a couple weeks already? A week and a half?
Yeah, and they asked us to energize their tower yesterday, and we sent the inspector there.
no? What about
So-
the airport road primarily?
Yes, that's energized too.
They're energized as well.
Yes.
So all
From the Kiza substation all the way to the airport, Dan, all the primary roads are energized in that area. Dan, Cobreville, San Antonio,
okay.
all the way. The only primary that's not is Cagman, and a small portion, I believe, in up north.
Meaning
I think it's the Asmatuis going more north, yeah, which is there's only farms over there. I'm not sure if there's residences, but
staying on track with and I think this was asked earlier. There's no timetable as far as the eastern part of the island, Kangman particularly, San Vicente, that if it includes the laterals. Obviously materials are very critical also, not just when we say power poles, I would like to think that we include the elements that attach to the power poles, correct?
yes.
So when you're lacking that, then that power pole is as good as a broken power pole because there's
Right.
no
Well,
T's.
not all poles would have
Correct.
transformers, so in some cases we could be able to connect the lines and string them across
Okay.
and reach to another transformer. But if you need a transformer, then definitely you'd have to wait for the batch
Right.
to come in, unless they're refurbished right now,
Mhm.
or your transformer size is available on Tinian.
Okay. So, my next question, and I know it's I'm not sure if it was mentioned last week. One of the gentlemen that was here with us, that you guys did a post storm inventory of some of the elements, and then when you went back, some of the elements are missing. The conductors. How is that gonna affect the recovery?
Actually, it is affecting the recovery, like in
Okay.
Chalancanoa.
Yeah, let me ask this so everybody understands. The people understand. I can understand too. So when you say conductors, what is that?
Those are the copper wire lines that run from pole to pole
Okay.
up at the top.
So post storm assessment, it was done. Inventory was done. Correct.
Post storm, everyone's lines were good.
Okay. And
running.
then was there another return visit to realize that the initial inspection, those particular elements are no longer around?
Right. So
What could possibly happen?
most likely they're stolen. I mean,
Okay.
those are not easy to handle either. They're very heavy,
Correct.
and you'd have to have some tools to cut them off if you
Okay.
were.
So there's a statute that's criminal, basically,
Yes.
for any first and for for somebody to take that, and then number one, number two is for someone in the CNMI to purchase those things without a actual license to sell. So I mean, I don't want to go past that comment, but I mean, what I say this because some of our folks are probably thinking that they're going to be successful doing so, but we also want to be reminded that it is illegal and it's criminal charges going to be imposed if someone's buying copper wire that actually don't belong to them, but it belongs to CUC, it belongs to the public. So the message is, as you guys try to restore, it will very much help everyone if we leave that alone and let the SMEs, do their job, do their efforts to put the power back on, because a lot of people are I'm sure they're in dire need of having a consistent power source. So so I wanted to get that out, and I think I mentioned it earlier too, about the powering down of the main switchboard at home, whether you have a backup generator or not. My other question that I wanted to ask some customers of yours, and I've never heard this discussed in previous meetings that we had, but because it's spread all over the CNMI, this solar panels that you guys engage with this company. Yesterday I saw facilities. Oh, the panels are blown off. I don't know if it belongs to that company, but also some residentials experience almost 100%. How are we dealing with that? I mean, how does the customer now have to deal with that? Do they wait for the third party to come in and do, or what's your takeaway? What should be the standard operating procedure when we get our power back?
So for customers who are on net meter solar, it is between them and their solar panel provider. From CUC, it's only from the meter. So if their panels are broken or flew away, then they wouldn't be producing any power. Or if partial went away, then they'd be producing on partial. We just track it by the meter, and so to repair it or get it put back on would be between them and the solar company that they engage with.
So then I'm certain that there's a call number, no, for that.
Yeah,
You don't have that information?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't deal with that, but
All
we
right.
do inspect it when they're ready to install. Yeah.
That's good. That's good information. So I don't have any other question. I want to leave some of these questions for our next meeting because I know there's quite a few, and members, we're good. And so is there anything else that you want to share before we adjourn this particular
Yeah.
meeting?
No, thank you very much. This is also like you said, good for the public to hear from us what
Yes.
we put out a lot of advisories, but I guess not everybody reads Facebook or
Correct.
Instagram or WhatsApp. We share it out there, but again, not everybody reads
Yeah.
that stuff.
And this is the sole reason why, Betty, that we're having this engagement, because of what you just said, and we're gonna try and chime in, and hopefully, for us, it's like no one can better answer the questions with regards to restoration and recovery than CUC and other elements contained, to get there.
Yes.
So we appreciate it. I'm sure the general public appreciate this conversation, and I think we're ready to adjourn until again next week, 27th at 10 a.m. the same venue.
All right.
I respectfully ask that we continue this dialogue until we are almost near 100%. No, if that
We hope by next week Tinian will be energized.
we're looking forward to that, and I'm sure our community is looking forward to that. So with that, members, there nothing further discussion. I wish to thank Director Watson and Ms. Betty for meeting with us this morning. And at this time, I recognize Senate President to offer. Very rare that I recognize Senate President to offer a motion to adjourn, but at this time I would do that.
Thank you, Chairman, and I'd like to offer a motion to adjourn today's delegation meeting subject to your call.
Then a motion offered by Senator Carl King Neighbors to adjourn this session, special session. There a second. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn this special meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. The special meeting of the delegation stands adjourned. Thank you.